I think one of the biggest things that I learned as a Peace Corps volunteer is that nothing is certain. I never knew when the water was going to turn on and if it wasn't, if the electricity was going to go out that day, if I was going to have school that day. When it finally came to the moment that Peace Corps Nicaragua was evacuated in the spring of 2018, I felt a lot of emotions, and I think at the forefront of those emotions was one that it was an act of mercy. That was one of the first things that I honestly thought when I found out that we were going to be evacuated. I was relieved to find out that we were being evacuated. And then, of course, I was incredibly sad that I was unable to say goodbye to any of my community. We were in stand fast when we found out that we were going to be evacuated. Over the next few days, I'm going to be sharing with you all a little bit about my own experience of being evacuated from Peace Corps in the spring of 2018, now 2 years ago. As most of you know, Peace Corps is currently undergoing a global evacuation, and I just want to use my platform here to create a sense of community, a sense of lived, shared experience as your fellow RPCV who has experienced evacuation. Every single one of you joined the Peace Corps because you are dedicated to service, and I want you all to know that just because you are evacuated before your service has come to the end does not mean that you did not make a difference in your community. Your service still matters. I thank you for your service. Your community thanks you for your service. And even though you are headed home today, your service still matters. Now, I think most of you already know, if you're watching this channel, that 2 days ago, the global director of Peace Corps announced that they would be undergoing a global evacuation. Now, they've already evacuated Peace Corps China and Peace Corps Mongolia, and now Peace Corps in Washington, D.C. headquarters is in the process of evacuating all volunteers. I do not work for Peace Corps, so I do not have insider information on what is going on. However, because I have gone through an evacuation myself, I do have a good sense of what all of you are going through. So I wanted to go ahead and start by just reading the message that was posted on peacecorps.gov by the director of Peace Corps to give all of you a little bit more information in case you haven't already heard, whether just from your RPCV community, your Peace Corps community, or on NPR. I heard a brief segment on NPR about the Peace Corps global evacuation as well. So here it is. This was posted on March 15th, 2020. It says, Washington, the following is an open letter to Peace Corps volunteers from Director Jody Oslin. Dear volunteers, I know this is a very stressful time for you and your families, your host communities, and the staff at your post. As you know, we recently evacuated volunteers from China and Mongolia due to the COVID-19 outbreak and related travel constraints and school closures. Further evacuations are now underway at several posts. Unfortunately, it has become clear in the last 48 hours that numerous posts must follow suit. It is against this backdrop that I've made the difficult decision to temporarily suspend all Peace Corps operations globally and evacuate all of our volunteers. As COVID-19 continues to spread and international travel becomes more and more challenging by the day, we are acting now to safeguard your well-being and prevent a situation where volunteers are unable to leave their host countries. Evacuations are difficult, emotionally draining experiences for everyone involved. We are here for you and will do all that we can to keep you informed and up to date on the latest developments. Ensuring your health, safety, and security is the highest priority of the Peace Corps. I want to stress that headquarters remains open under its own continuity of operations plan, and agency personnel are working 24/7 to support you and our staffs overseas. I also want to assure you and our host country partners that these evacuations represent the temporary suspension of volunteer activities. We are not closing posts, and we will be ready to return to normal operations when conditions permit. Importantly, our host country staff will remain in their current positions. They play a critical role in every element of the Peace Corps mission, especially in a time of crisis. Look for more information from your country director in the hours ahead. I deeply appreciate your patience and understanding as we work through these logistically challenging operations. My thoughts are with you, and I am incredibly grateful for your service. Sincerely, Jody K. Oslin. So that is the head of Peace Corps' message. She, I'm sure, is having an incredibly difficult time making this decision, but know that she had your best interest in mind, and that the entire Peace Corps community, all of your country directors, your APCDs, your PMs, they all had your safety in mind. Everyone needs to be with their family, or at least stateside. I'm sure it's also a huge liability for Congress if any of you were to get sick. So I know it's so difficult to find the silver lining in this. Believe me, I went through that myself. I want to let you all know, in case you haven't already been told, but there is currently a Facebook support group that has been created. I have gone ahead and linked it both in the description box below as well as the comments section. Please go ahead and join that Peace Corps group if you are an RPCV or a currently evacuated PCV. It is meant to be a support platform. In the comments below, I would love for you all to write down any ideas for videos that you are needing right now. You are in the process of being evacuated, or maybe you are a loved one, family member who is about to receive an evacuated volunteer back into your home. Let me know in the comments below, what kind of videos do you all need right now? Over the next few days, I will be sharing more detail about my own evacuation experience. I would like to go into detail about the exodus from my community, our stand fast in Costa Rica. We were in Costa Rica for a week before we made it back to the United States. I was in admin hold for 2 months before they officially terminated all of our services. So I'd like to give you all a lot more information about that, in hopes that that will, kind of give you a sense of where this road could go. We also had an evacuation conference when we were in Costa Rica. So we had people from Washington come down. It was really in depth. So I'd like to go into further detail with that in the next couple of days. I'll probably post a few videos this week. If you're wondering at all about what my experience right now with social distancing is, most of you already know that I am a public school teacher. I teach two-way immersion, Spanish and English, 7th grade, language arts and social studies here in the state of Oregon. So we have already closed all schools in the state of Oregon. My school district was actually one of the very first districts to shut down. And talking with a lot of my fellow RPCVs from my cohort, NICA 68, a lot of us have been commenting about all of the similarities with COVID-19 and our own evacuation from Nicaragua, just kind of the build up to it. So I'll be sure to cover all of this in videos down the line, but let's go ahead and stay together. Please go ahead and check out that Facebook group if you feel like you need some community support, but let's all stay in this together, folks. I know we're social distancing, but let's try and stay in contact digitally. Hang in there, guys. I'll see you in a few days.